Time again for the Drunk Tank, where the staff will rank recent films and games, some good, some lame. They'll talk about wow, work it in somehow. It's Drunk Tank. Gus puts up the podcast, and he always wears a frown. Jeff commentates in them whenever he's in town. Bernie tries his best to keep the group on track. Joel just laughs and sits in the back. Some people drop in by phone or by cars. They're not filler, they're just guest stars. It's the Drunk Tank. It's the Drunk Tank. Drunk Tank.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Drunk Tank.
Hey, who was that?
I don't know his name. I think all he wrote on his email was Peter.
I think we set a world record for least notes in a song.
What was that, half?
That's all. Half note.
Was that being sung by a robot? Or
I'm afraid robots are singing.
That was the rarely known note as close to D.
Well, it was it's close to A in my heart.
Dear Lord. I always wonder, too, when people first listen, say like number 20 is the first podcast they listen to, and they hear that, they go, fuck, do I have to listen to that song every single week? And the answer is, no, you don't.
You can, if you don't like it, you can submit your own song by sending it to podcast@roosterteeth.com. And if it's good enough, we'll play it, just like Peter's.
There will be another horrible song for you to listen to next week.
Peter the Android.
No, we've had some good... No, what are you saying horrible? These are all great songs.
I'm just going with the law of averages here.
These are all way better than any song I could ever make myself.
What was your favorite so far?
The one we had last week was pretty good.
I like last
The
week's
Ouroboros one was good too.
Bowls was good.
Bowls was good. Teresa Box was good too.
Let's say the bar is both high and low, and just leave it at that.
Okay. It's an extreme one way or another.
I'm going to shut down this computer over here because I don't want it to make too much noise.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Gavin, do you want to see how to shut down a computer? Because I know that you don't know how to do it.
What are you trying to say, buddy?
What I'm trying to say is every day when I come in here after you leave, it's literally like someone walks in and says, Gavin, let's go home. And he says, okay, and just stands up, like mid-keystroke, stands up and walks out. Monitors on. All the Xboxes are on. All the monitors for the Xboxes
that's fucking
are
awesome.
on.
I can appreciate that. Because I'm normally the one giving Gavino a ride. So the less time it takes for him to get packed up and leave, the better. He's the anti-Matt.
You don't fuck around.
You got people like Matt who sit around forever. Like, oh yeah, wait, one second. And then you got Gavino. Out the door.
Yeah, when Gus wants to leave, it's like, right, I'm going to stop drinking whatever I'm drinking, put it down, leave straight away. He gets mad.
It's like a crime scene. There's still the smoking gun, and ooh, the coffee cup is still warm. You know,
But the thing,
there was someone here working.
the thing about a Mac, if I've got like 10 things open, I can't just press shutdown and walk away. I've got to wait there for it to go through everything and be like, oh, this has cancelled the shutdown. So is this, and it's like, fuck it.
I completely understand that because every night when I try and go home and I try and shut down, it's like a 45-minute procedure just to like have everything power down. And
you also, Joel, though, by the way, Joel is joining us in the podcast.
Hey, I'm Gus.
Since when am I Fonzie?
I'm Gavin Free.
Who are you?
I'm Jennifer Garner.
Hey, he's back. She's back.
Star of Alias.
Boy,
Star of 13 going on 30.
Having kids really does change the whole look, doesn't it?
Hey, you try.
You're really not the same.
Staying married to Ben Affleck for this long and see how well you turn out. My beard is coming in nice and thick, though. Good.
You just don't wax anymore. You just let yourself go.
You know, I used to watch her on Felicity, and then she was on Alias. She was like a totally different person on those shows.
I didn't even know she was in Felicity.
She was Noel's girlfriend on Felicity.
Did she have
why I didn't
glasses
know?
or something?
Because I never fucking watched Felicity.
You know what, though? I'm totally redeemed on watching Felicity now, though, because it was J.J. Abrams' first series. So now it's like, oh, look who was there at the beginning. Bernie.
I'm still not interested.
Yep.
Not interested.
It's fucking awesome.
She was incredibly attractive. What's her name?
Jennifer Garner or Kerry Russell?
Kerry Russell.
Kerry Russell is still very attractive. And there's a weird connection, too. Her last movie that she was in with Nathan Fillion, who is the star of the upcoming blockbuster gaming hit, Halo 3 ODST.
That's right.
What movie were they in together?
They were in Waitress.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we talked about them with the
Making
director?
pies, pie, something.
You're like the guy
I've never
who sang the theme song
I'm
for us
guessing.
today.
I've never seen Waitress. I'm just trying to guess at what the song is.
That was Jeff who would sing that all the time. I saw the, speaking of Nathan Fillion, though, I saw the Halo 3 ODST Vidoc.
I thought it was awesome.
That was cool. The firefight one that just came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
They had some custom Sergeant Johnson talking into the camera stuff. Thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was neat. I also saw a Halo 3 ODST GameStop commercial that I enjoyed quite a bit.
I saw that too. That also featured Sergeant Johnson.
Yeah.
Maybe not so many custom animations in that one, though.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a good time.
Yeah, thank you.
Props to whoever made that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Not sure who did that.
Yeah, that was us. It's really cool when we get to work on commercials, and then Halo comes up in the rotation of release games, and we get to work on a Halo game for a television commercial. That's
I was
pretty
so glad I was here for that.
Just so people know, that's the game you were talking about last week.
That is the game I was talking
that I had
about
to
last
censor
week.
a bunch of stuff out.
Yeah. I usually just try not to say anything at all because you never know what's
we
a
get
secret.
into this loop as soon as we start talking about stuff. It's like I'm just not going to say anything
Well,
because
yeah, with those in particular, it's like you don't know what aspects have been talked about. So you just
right. I don't even want to cross a line.
I don't mind talking about our stuff, but it's just like when it bleeds into other people's stuff, you got to be very careful.
Forget it. I'd rather talk about the bag of trail mix.
I'd rather
I'd rather complain about the bag of trail mix and whoever brought this hefty sack. Someone brought like a hefty sack of trail mix from the store.
Speaking of the trail mix, I was asking Joel about this the other day. If you were to sit down, like it was a 4-pound bag of trail mix, if you were to sit down and eat that entire bag of trail mix, would you gain 4 pounds? Or would you gain more than 4 pounds?
That's a really good question.
Like, does your body convert it into fat, and do you gain more weight, or
How can
is
you
it
gain-
is it even a 1-to-1 ratio?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
that was endlessly fascinating to think about that.
Or are you burning it off as you're eating it? I don't know. Like,
But how could you gain more than exists?
I'm sure because you have other metabolic processes by which.
But the weight has to come from somewhere, though.
yeah, but it's converting it. Like, if it's converting it from nut form to fat form on your body.
But where's...
Well, no, in the case of our office, it would be if you went through a bag of trail mix and picked out all the M&Ms and ate only those, would you gain the weight of an M&M? Because that's pretty much what's happening.
Except for Jeff. Jeff is the trooper. Jeff's been picking out and eating the raisins. I don't know anyone in the world who fucking does that. I wonder if you'd go through and pick out dried apricots. I hate fucking dried apricots in trail mix. I wonder if you would eat those.
I'm pretty sure this is how the swine flu started, was a big open communal bag of trail mix hanging out in an office for 3 weeks. Just sitting there, open, the cat's walking over it, sticking his foot in there, thinking it's a kitty litter. It's terrible. And then we eat it.
Do you know whose problem it is? You know who caused this problem? It's Matt. Matt won't throw anything away. He has some kind of weird guilty conscience complex about this. So what he does instead of throwing stuff away is bring it to the office, and that's how he gets rid of it. And I say, take this trail mix or take these 4 dozen cookies and just throw them away. Just toss them. And he goes, no, that'd be wasteful. It's like, how is it less wasteful for us to eat all this garbage food?
That's the difference. I don't know what it is. I mean, I hit a certain point in my life, and for most of our listeners who are younger, you go through acquire stuff. Eventually, you get to a point, especially dudes, you're going to be like, why do I have all this crap? And then you're going to hit a point where it's like, I need to get rid of stuff, and that's it. From that point on, you're just going to be trying to get rid of stuff.
I was talking with Griffin the other day about the level of maintenance that the average American life takes now. Just because you have, like, my parents probably had a phone bill, an electric bill, and a water bill. That's probably what they had. I mean, they didn't even have cable. They didn't have internet. They didn't have Netflix. They didn't have all these other subscriptions, things that go along with it. Maybe a magazine, if they had that, which not everyone did. It's just like, everything you got to do to maintain your life is it's ridiculous.
And
it's
like all the crap.
That reminds me. I was watching a documentary. My wife was actually watching this documentary the other day. It was streaming on Netflix. I think it was called God Forgot About Us. It's about these... Here's another thing that was brought to the office instead of being thrown away.
Listen,
Joe the cat.
I bring cats, he brings food.
That cat has an amazing, like, whenever we're recording, whether it be video or audio, he knows when to meow.
So I was watching this documentary, and long story short, it's about these kids in Africa who are running away from civil war, and eventually a couple of them are allowed to emigrate to the United States. And they come to the United States, and it follows them for like the first 3 or 4 years they're in the United States. And like towards the end of the documentary, they're talking to one of the guys, and he's got his checkbook out, and he's paying a bill. And he looks at the camera and he says, "Look, I have $200 in my hand right now. When I came to America, if I had $200, I was rich. I had so much money. And now, it's all bills. I have to pay my phone bill. I have to pay, my utility bill." And he just went down the list like, "This $200, it's already gone." He's like, "Where did my money go?"
Welcome to America.
It's like, you're living the American dream, buddy.
Yeah, it's like now you're in it, pal. Enjoy it.
Wait till he gets married.
Then you don't see the money in the first place. You just see the bills.
Zing.
Well, I had you guys saw what I did for my wife to reach recession level spending once the recession started to hit.
The NASCAR checks?
Yeah, I bought my wife. We had to renew our checks. And you get when you order checks, you get like 250,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so my wife says we need more checks, and I'm like, I haven't written one check or two checks since the last time we ordered checks. You've written 248 checks. Is that possible? And so, in order to curtail spending, my wife goes to, like, these little boutiques, that have stupid names where she buys like a pair of jeans that somebody already owned, yet they increased in value. Somebody else is wearing jeans that actually appreciate in value. So I said, okay, I got a great idea for this. I'll order the checks. I got it. So I ordered NASCAR checks with Old English font for our name and address, and then you can get like an affinity watermark. And I chose the truck driving one, which has a big like tractor trailer ring on it. So
Nice.
My wife will not use
So,
these checks.
my
anymore.
question
Didn't you
is-
have like a NASCAR? You had like a NASCAR symbol on there,
Yeah.
so like Jeff Gordon.
It literally has a track with the cars, going by where you're riding. Like,
Oh, it'd be
paid-
awesome if we could make that noise as you were signing. Vroom.
Dude,
But my
if I
question-
could get a sound chip in the checkbook, I would have.
Where is your wife writing checks?
Yeah, right.
Because
Everywhere.
anytime I get in line and there's someone in front of me writing a fucking check, I want to kill them.
I
with
was
my
going to
eye.
ask that. I've
Yeah.
never written a check. What do people use checks for?
Like, I assume they use it to steal groceries. That's every time I see someone pull out a checkbook in the grocery store, I'm convinced that they're writing a hot check and they're stealing all the groceries.
Well, there's some people. There's some places you go that don't take credit cards. Like a babysitter won't take a credit card. A guy who does your lawn doesn't take a credit
Well,
card.
but do they
Pay
not?
cash.
Do they not take cash?
Yeah.
yeah, but I would prefer not to have my wife have ready access to cash as opposed to checks. So,
At least they have to go through the effort of like writing and.
But she literally made the statement like, I have a problem with these checks. It was funny at first, but now it's like I feel so embarrassed by them. I can't use them anywhere except where I need to use them.
Wow,
What is
you
that-
must have,
what
you
does
must have
that
had a
mean?
huge feeling of satisfaction.
Did the banner drop behind you saying "Mission accomplished"? You're like, yeah.
That's like
confetti falling.
that's what like an orgasm is in marriage, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's as close as you get.
Oh God.
gross.
I don't want to get too much into married suburban life, but how's your house going, buddy?
Yeah, right.
Awful. I'm still living in that crappy extended stay motel with no internet up in Cedar Park, but we're hoping to move into our kitchen Friday.
Move into your kitchen?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I'll be sleeping on an inflatable mattress in my kitchen.
You're going to be like a frozen turkey.
Yes.
Well, if you have to
Wow.
pick a room, that's probably that's the one you want.
Hopefully our
No.
our kitchen and bathroom will be ready by Friday, and we'll.
No, because
What
there's
do you mean, no?
Because there's restaurants. Get the bedroom, right? Or do you have a bathroom?
No, hopefully the kitchen and the bathroom will be ready.
You don't want to
on
live in the
Friday.
bathroom, for God's sakes, Bernie. That's definitely not what you want.
You're pissing in the sink.
Hey, it works. It's pipes, right?
It's all pipes.
It all
All
lives in the
pipes.
same place.
Yeah, it all ends up in the sewer somewhere.
But we'll be eventually. Well, I'll be living in that house until my wife burns it down.
All right.
Are you going to have a housewarming party?
Yeah, it's scheduled for Q1 2010.
Sweet.
Well, listen, I just want to say this. If you need a place to stay, this goes on longer than you thought. If you come to the point where you absolutely positively need a place where you need to stay, I can ask around for you.
That's cool. The cops come by about every night to our motel, and they say the same thing to me. They're offering me a great spot, like at 6th and I-35.
Oh, really? Yeah. Why are you here, sir? How long have you been in this hotel?
They speaking of which, they called me the other day. The motel called me. We were shooting a live action short, and my phone rang. I didn't pick it up, and they left a voicemail saying, "Hello, Mr. Sorolla. We see you're staying with us for 9 days. Our file on you is incomplete. We were calling to see what your company name is and what your business here is. Please call us back." I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Well, they
Yeah.
need to know that kind of
I,
thing.
I don't know. I didn't call them back.
What they're saying is we don't want you living here. It's probably what they're saying.
But it's all business for them. Why do they care?
But they advertise a monthly rate. You know,
Yeah.
This is the kind of place where people have set up shop and are living. I think. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't want me living there, but they'll let all the day labor dudes live there and like live 6 to a room.
Oh, is
Maybe
that
part
true?
of the
Yeah.
contract is that you have to deal drugs and they get a percentage. If
Yeah,
you're
maybe.
not doing and not buying into that system, then
The cops haven't been
So-
to that Sorolla room.
This hotel is not like an extended stay business hotel.
It's like it's like a bastard child of the extended stay family.
we on your last night there we should have a party.
I'm all for that.
Let's not.
I'm all for that.
Let's not.
Well, you don't have like a deposit or anything like that, right?
It's a scary ass place.
Dude, I knew a guy that when I was in high school, he wrecked his car and it was getting fixed, and he got a rental car. It was embarrassing and sad to look back at what we did to that rental car. Like, did you know if you can drive like up to 30 to 35 miles in reverse in a car?
Yeah, you can go full speed in reverse.
In a Ford Escort? Yeah. And then you can throw it to drive. And you know what the car does? It spins in a
Oh
circle.
my God!
Yeah.
Jeez, that sounds. Oh, that's like the equivalent of a car heart attack.
Yeah, pretty
That's like
much.
giving the car like a
Where did you
Stroke.
Where do you go
Christ.
to do that?
I worked at a sandwich shop, a sub shop, and it was a Blimpie. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Blimpie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked at a Blimpie, and he worked there with me, and we would do it behind, the alleyway that runs behind.
You would do
like,
it in
shopping
an
centers.
alley, so
Behind
no one
Blimpie.
would see. Secret.
Pretty much. I mean, we knew what we were doing was not
Behind the Blimpie.
nice. There was that whole thing that Bam Margera did too, where he lit a rental car on fire.
Was that on Jackass?
No, I think that was on
Or it was on like
CKY. Or
yeah, it was on one of
called.
his videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lit the radio on fire, and then it ended up spreading and catching the whole car on fire.
It's really interesting that where Jackass came from. It came from that CKY group, and then what was the group on the West Coast? The Big Brother Skate Magazine or something
Oh, I
like
don't
that?
know.
I think Jeff should be here to talk about this, but the Jackass was like two groups from the East Coast and the West Coast that came together to make stuff, and they called it Jackass.
To
To
destroy
break
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, to
There's
make
very
stuff.
little creation going on.
To make destruction. How about that?
What are you doing to the cat?
Gavin's getting attacked by the cat. He always does during the podcast.
At least they didn't make noise this time. So, Gavino, I'm glad to see you don't have coffee this week, and I'm glad to see the trail mix isn't in here, because I am so sick of trying to edit you slurping out of a coffee cup or eating trail mix out of the podcast.
This may be my first podcast with no food items.
There is no food for Gavino ever in a podcast ever again. Because I have to sit there and fucking edit the disgusting chewing noises out.
You think, what is the deal with them? Is it like all British people are animals, or is it just because you're younger? Is that the deal?
I can get away with it because I'm young.
Is that what it is?
Sure, why not?
Griffin says that you guys will be in the living room, like watching TV, and you will literally just stand up and walk away from your trash and all that stuff. And
Yeah, well, I don't have any trash, but Ben. Let's
So-
not talk about that.
so it must be a function of being younger. Then, so the younger you go,
At first, I didn't believe that, but after looking at where Ben has been sitting, I totally buy it. And it's like I made a comment one time because I walked by the desk and I saw just like piles of garbage or whatever, and then literally about 6 inches away from the garbage on the desk, there was the giant trash can next to
Yeah.
his desk, which he's not using. There's a giant trash can right there. Ben, if you want to use it. And then today or yesterday, I went and noticed that of course the trash can's totally full and buried under the desk now, so no one else can have access to the trash can but him.
Oh, is he
See,
in that-
he's got it all worked out.
is he in that trash Jenga mode where it's like
Oh,
well
yeah.
above the
Oh,
normal
yeah.
fill
Except for
level?
it's under the desk and near all the cables and everything. So I mean,
Nice.
That was
this will be the source of the fire.
There was a weekend where I had to come in and work on an episode, and Ben came in with me, and he sat behind me on this couch. And the next day, it was like you couldn't see the couch. He got through about 5 Coke cans and like a ton of M&Ms. It was
Yeah,
like,
and
oh my god!
he will eat stuff. Like he eats stuff that just produces trash at a greater level.
Well, think how messy his desk would be if brownies had bones. It would
That's disgusting, dude. Oh my god, I just got grossed out. Oh.
it would be like a bear cave over there.
Well, if they made the bones out of chocolate,
Brownie.
now actually that's a great idea.
Brownie skeletons everywhere.
Oh man.
Oh man, that is.
Little imagery for you. Nice
Yeah.
on a Wednesday morning.
I picture like a kiwi, like the bird, like a kiwi bird. And just like you're picking it up by the beak and putting like the body in your mouth and just like eating it all off, and the skeleton comes right
Like
out.
in a cartoon where they shove the fish in their mouth and pull out the bones.
Exactly.
God, I wish I could eat like that. I really do. I really wish I could go somewhere, take a whole fish, put it in my mouth, and just zoop, pull out the bones.
Who was it that was talking the other day about how cartoon steaks look just so delicious?
Was that you?
It was me and Matt. How a cartoon steak
Yeah.
looks like the most
Like
delicious
just like
thing
a
on the planet.
big
There's nothing
ham.
more pure, right? There's nothing more pure. There's no hair on a cartoon steak. You'll
No.
never see.
And it's like one consistent color red. There's that nice ring of fat on the
Yeah.
outside. It's got the ribeye bone.
The marbling is
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, it's just like they just cut it with a knife, and it's like just looks like the most succulent thing of all time. And apparently, in the 50s, that's all people fed to their bulldogs. They fed them steaks.
Cartoon food is always good. I remember I used to watch a lot of Tom and Jerry, and I always ate cheese because cheese and Tom and Jerry look just delicious.
Yeah, cheese looked awesome there.
And they had steaks. That's where the bulldogs had the
Yeah.
steaks. That bulldog outside with his little puppy dog. They always had a steak.
Tom and Jerry was great. How old is Tom? It's got to be like 70 years old or something, right?
That's probably from the 60s.
Is it?
I think
Yeah.
I think the earlier versions are even before that. I
Because
think
it's color, so it can't be too far back.
I can't
Alright.
believe you brought this up because I actually saw a Tom and Jerry cartoon like a day ago.
Oh, really?
And and
Where?
it seemed like
On
some of
TV?
on TV. I just was going through and
you know, it's weird to think about. Like when we were younger, that's the kind of stuff we saw on TV. Like I remember being young and not having very many channels, and I'd have to spend my Saturdays watching the Andy Griffith Show, and all these black and white TV shows,
Yeah.
the Beverly Hillbillies, stuff from
Yeah.
like the 50s and the 60s. And I don't think anyone nowadays ever watches those shows. I don't think you can watch those shows on TV anymore.
The Munsters.
I remember
is a good example.
that's all you would always see. Three's Company.
Like if you go back
that wasn't
and you
that old.
try and watch like an Andy Griffith show or something like that that's like way back, it's really you have to like readjust your mind. You're watching it like a document or like something from out of a museum. You know, it's not for entertainment. It's for something else. It's like, wow, this is what life was like a million years ago.
Dude, we used to watch Little Rascals. That's from the 20s,
Yeah.
man.
Right.
You
the
know?
Three Stooges?
Three Stooges? Those are old, like, short films that used to be before movies in the 30s and 40s. Mm-hmm. You know?
And I watched The Kill Time in the summers.
But there was a weird thing, too. Like, as video became a prominent technology and stuff converted from film to video or to TV, video looked like hell. Like, when I watch old football games, that's where I see it the most, is when you watch, like, a Jets-Bills game from 1981.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those slates that come up, the graphics are friggin' terrible. I mean, any kid with a Final Cut could do something 10 times better than that now. And so, there's a lot of stuff that, like, from between, like, 1965 to, like, let's say 2000, it just doesn't stand up. It doesn't look like a real production, whereas stuff that was shot on film, like Little Rascals and Three Stooges, that might still bridge that gap.
Well, that's because they didn't have any graphics.
I can't believe they switched from film to video when video looks so terrible. I mean, who decided
cheap.
that was okay?
Probably cheap.
Well, it's
Cost effective.
processing time was the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I
we,
guess.
we shot a film in college, Matt and I, the film that Matt and I met to make. And Joel, you were in that.
That was extraordinarily like a stressful time because we didn't have money and we were shooting it on film.
Yep.
We were shooting on film, and that was it, man. That was a limited amount. So it's like when we started rolling, that was it, man. You were burning money.
And you could hear it. Yeah, you
crazy.
push the button, and it was like, what, $10 a minute, basically, to run it.
I work with high-speed cameras, but my boss used to work with high-speed film cameras, and he'd have to load up like
Well, explain what high speed means. Cause
it's super slow motion.
Super slow motion.
runs the film through the camera at super speed, and he used to put like 1,000-foot roll of film, and it would go through the camera in 7 seconds.
I believe it.
How much would that cost?
I always heard those high-speed film cameras, too, especially if it's 35, right? I always heard those high-speed film cameras that there was no take-up reel, that it would just spit the film into a bag because it couldn't spin.
There
and
was
take
some
it
that
up.
did that, but he used Photosonics cameras, which they always had like another reel.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
A take-up reel?
Wow, so they would have to spit it into a bag and then they'd have to reel it up later?
Some of those military ones where they do like 10,000 frames a second, they were doing those on film. There was no way to roll
Yeah.
the film back up that fast. So they would just literally just spit it into a bag in a big pile and then like reel
But like
it back up.
each shot you did would require like half an hour worth of cleaning, because like you'd open it and like there'd be like just dust and shit everywhere, because film moving at that speed is just mental. Must have been.
All the emulsion coming off. And
Yeah.
Check the gate means something totally different, right? Yeah. Some of the stuff Gav has done, I've seen all over the place. Those videos of the people busting the water balloon on somebody else's head.
Yeah.
That's Gavin shooting that in his backyard at like 16 years old.
I walked into the hideout when I was here last time, and someone was watching that. Do you remember that?
It was your first hour being in the U.S.
Yeah.
You walked in and saw something you had made playing on someone else's laptop in the coffee shop next door.
That was really weird.
She really freaked out.
I couldn't believe it.
She freaked out.
That
about
was filmed in a garden in Oxford in England. I mean, and it's been watched where I'm standing in Texas.
Yep.
It's crazy.
My favorite thing that you've worked on, which was a commercial project, was the throwing tiny pies at flies.
Yeah, the millimeters matter thing.
I
Samsung
I
advert.
fucking love that.
Yeah.
I love those little pies look so perfect. Once again, going back to perfect food, those little pies look so perfect flying through the air.
Cartoons got pies right too, man. If you
Oh,
go
yeah.
back and look at those pies,
I'm
they
just
make-
saying, this is why you never see trail mix in a cartoon.
I don't think I've ever seen a vent hole in a real pie, but they all have those little vent holes, like that inner circle around them. It's just perfect in a cartoon.
And they're typically blueberry.
Dude, I am starving.
You know what I hate is that you introduced me. Bernie had this weird thing about sliced tomatoes. It's like Bernie will not eat sliced tomatoes, and I had to like figure out why. Why won't Bernie eat sliced tomatoes? So I started asking him questions about it. Now I don't want to eat sliced tomatoes.
I don't want to eat
Thanks.
sliced tomatoes. Nope.
Thanks.
And I'll eat just about anything, but cucumbers and sliced tomatoes, no way.
I'm not a fan of either.
Nope. I'll eat tomato in any other form. Tomato paste.
Gross.
I won't eat a sun-dried tomato. I won't even eat something that has sun-dried tomatoes in it. You can't pick those out. That sun-dried flavor gets all over everything. I don't know what exactly that is.
Dead photons.
It's like, people really like raisins. Let's make a raisin out of a tomato. You know? Still waiting for like raisin bananas.
What is the difference between a raisin and a sultana?
And a what?
I don't even know what that is.
Seriously? Okay.
A
never mind.
sultana?
Yeah.
What is
You know,
that?
we're
It's like a-
inventing the best dieting program in the world, where we'll just start bashing food and how gross it is.
Or
It is-
we'll build up imaginary food like cartoon steaks.
Or like sultana.
All that you want. You're like, wow, this hamburger tastes like shit. The one in Tom and Jerry was way better.
We can draw ourselves as cartoons eating cartoon food to satisfy that.
That'd be good. Get Luke on that straight away.
I like to envision that all my pets think of me as like just the waist down too, like in the cartoons. Like I'm just my pants and my socks.
I
That's
think
it.
Tom and Jerry got in a lot of trouble for racism. Whenever they showed humans, it was always like that black lady who you only saw from the legs down,
You have
and
to-
she'd have the stereotypical like black voice.
You have to wonder if there's a couple of those cartoons that like just sort of don't get shown. There's
Yeah,
some-
there
vault
are. If
somewhere,
you look
know?
them up on YouTube, you can see there's a lot of like Looney Tunes that are like
Just-
forbidden. The other day, it's funny you say that. Jeff had Millie here in the office, and she was just watching like Looney Tunes and like clicking through it on YouTube. And then I walked by the desk where she was, and she was like halfway through like a forbidden, never to be watched again Looney Tunes. You know, like characters are in blackface. Like, whoa, let's find something else for you here, Millie.
As reference, Tom and Jerry ran from 1940 to 1958. So,
Wow, it's even earlier than I thought. Yeah.
and you can see like the library for those
Wow.
shorts, those cartoon shorts, getting smaller and smaller, just because what's PC changes over the years. What's acceptable is is narrowing. You know, the violence of the cartoons is ridiculous too. I mean, like shoving a dynamite stick in somebody's mouth and lighting it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that gets bad. There's some Disney stuff like that too. There's a scene that was cut, a centaur scene that was removed from Fantasia.
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
I think they reframed it, right? And then zoomed it in. So
Yeah.
it's actually clearly a lower quality shot in the middle of all this stuff where they removed an insensitive centaur character. But you can easily find it online.
Yeah.
You know, I
Thanks,
still don't
YouTube.
get that whole film, that whole movie. I just don't get. You know, where it's just like,
Dude, there's some people that they go crazy for that, you know? There's some people that are big into music theory, and they love... I mean, the first half an hour of Fantasia is like a musical educational lecture. Have you watched it recently?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Where it's it has the formula for everything that I consider bad, like it combining like live action with animation, which is that almost never works.
What are you Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Classic
That
movie.
was a good. You're right. That was an
Bob
excellent
Hoskins.
Movie. That was an excellent movie, but
Pete's Dragon.
Peach Dragon?
Pete's Dragon. You guys,
Oh, Pete's Dragon.
You guys remember Pete's Dragon?
Oh, yeah.
all I remember is that it sucked. No, I don't remember.
Everybody's always made a big deal about Who Framed Roger Rabbit being the first mix of live action and cartoon.
Oh, not at
And
all.
I just remember Pete's Dragon.
It was the
Clearly.
best mix. It was
Yeah.
done really well.
And it still holds up. It still holds up.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you can go back and watch
Like
that
when
today.
he's handcuffed to him and like strangling. It looks great, man.
Yeah.
And when was that movie made? 90s, 80s, 90s.
Late
Late
80s.
80s.
Late
I
80s,
think,
yeah.
yeah.
That was
Late
a
80s.
great movie. That was a great movie.
You know, there's a cool clip that's online right now, which is 100 years of visual effects for inspiration. And it's not 100 clips. It just goes over some of the best visual effects stuff in the last 100 years. And there's stuff from very, very early on that's really cool. Like, there's one from, I think, Great Train Robbery that was just this amazing scene of people walking across the street with these cars all around them. And Who Framed Roger Rabbit was in there because it holds up well. Stuff like Episode 1, not so much.
That was a weird situation where I first saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit on TV, and they'd cut out all the scary stuff with like Christopher Lloyd when his mask is coming off and his eyes are like popping out.
Yeah.
And I remembered the movie. I was like, I'm gonna watch that again, and it scared the crap out of me. Like the uncensored version, I was like, whoa. I'm glad they censored it when I first watched it because I was a lot younger.
Well, stuff in the UK gets much more heavily censored, except for...
Which is funny because there's more like a camera on every city block. And
That's true. They have to edit lots of footage.
we have this theory that they're gonna just turn London into a giant like reality show just because it's like cameras on every. Why waste the footage?
It'd be great if they try to take it to court. And it's like, well, here's the footage from that corner on that day. It's like, where's the robbery? It's like, oh, we had to remove that bit. it was too offensive.
Well, it wasn't working.
It was far too
There,
violent.
there was a headbutt in there.
They take out a lot of headbutts in
I know.
America, though, right?
No.
Oh, they don't?
No. I remember that came in episode 2 of Star Wars. That's the only difference between the UK version and the US version is Obi-Wan Kenobi headbutts I think he headbutts Jango Fett in the American version, and he doesn't in the UK version.
I remember.
Say, What?
They remove headbutts in the UK.
What?
It's true.
Darth Maul,
There's a lot of headbutts taken out of the Matrix, and also there's
Is
like a double-handed slap on each side of his face. They can't show that either. Like a.
What?
Did you ever have those ads where it was like, do you have Tango? Do you have that drink here? Tango.
Is it because it has the name Butt in it?
No, I think Tango's called Fanta here.
Oh, we have Fanta too. Tango's something different. And there used to be like an ad campaign where a guy dressed as an orange would come up to someone and slap both sides of their head and be like, "You've been Tango," and it got banned because everyone did it, and it's apparently really painful. And they can't show that in any movies.
Okay, so here's a
And
question.
Morpheus got Tango.
Like they have a different like deal over there, right? Where it's obviously like they can't show anything violent. Apparently, is what I'm learning. But they can show like a lot of sex stuff. So if you had a choice,
No.
would you rather live like in the U.S. where you could show all violence but no sex, or would you rather live in Europe where they show all sex, no violence?
I've always thought America's been backwards with that attitude of like, let's protect the kids from sex stuff and show them all the violence.
Clearly,
Yeah.
clearly. But I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand the logic, and the logic must be like this. The logic must be like this. If you have like kids,
Yes.
and it's like you show sex scenes, it's like, well, my kid will go out and screw somebody and get pregnant or whatever. But it's like if you show bank robbery, probably my kid's not going to go out and rob a bank.
Yeah, my kid's more likely to get pregnant or sleep with the kid down the street than they are to
Right.
become a serial killer.
Or headbutt someone.
But still, there's something I think fundamentally wrong with favoring violence over normal sexual behavior, you know? Why would you censor stuff that's
And we're all
normal?
we just so we say it, we're probably all on the same page. Probably everybody in this room feels like we shouldn't censor anything, right?
No, fuck it.
No.
We're all adults.
I mean, that was what our short was about, right?
I don't know. I mean, I could make a lot of arguments for censoring some super violent stuff.
No,
I
but
really could.
but generally, generally you're probably more liberal than what is in terms of censoring what is, right?
Well, I don't think that I would want kids to watch everything. My
Sure.
parents, when I was a kid, they saw that I clearly loved this movie Star Wars because I was old enough to see it in the theaters, and they're like, "God, he talks about the Star Wars thing all the time. He loves the sci-fi stuff. Well, this is something he's interested in. There's a new movie coming out. It looks like Star Wars. Let's take him to see it." It was Alien, and I saw.
Oh yeah, dude. The same thing happened to me, dude. I was like 7. I was scarred. That movie scarred. Oh, no question.
My parents.
I've censored pictures. I mean, I'm not really into it, but I have censored certain pictures on the site. Where it's like some idiot is like uploading pictures of like some guy that like shot his own head off or whatever. It's like
Yeah,
that's
people are
I don't want.
dumb
That's
about
not
that.
cool. I don't want to.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. There's some stuff you definitely like.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying with what with the guidelines that exist, we probably skew a little more.
Right. What I'm saying is, I'm saying that in terms of censorship, if people want to seek that stuff out, anything that people want to seek out, they
Sure.
should be able to seek out and find another. That's fine.
Sure.
But in a normal thing where people are in essentially a kind of public place,
Sure.
they shouldn't be just exposed to things without any kind of forewarning.
It's funny during the Blur video, and they have I'm trying to flick everybody off, and they've got the black box around my finger, and I'm moving my finger up and down, and the whole time I'm thinking, every time I move my hand up and down violently, is that like another 3 hours for Matt and Nathan?
Yeah, pretty much.
Keyframe.
Some of that tracking stuff they can do a little bit easier. I mean, that they don't have to really worry about that looking like it's supposed to be in the shot. But yeah,
It was like we were talking about combining animation and live action. That scene in The Simpsons, that was the first time where they have the three like the rendered individual Homer's like, I feel like this is a very I can't remember what he says.
Well, in District 9, that's what District 9 is. It is an exercise in tracking, where tracking is in visual effects where you insert a CG element, and you have to make it look like it's still in the shot even when the camera moves or when characters,
Yeah.
up the camera. You have to make it look stable in the shot. And Gav, what do you always look at? You said you always look at feet, right? For tracking?
Yeah.
Episode 1's got some bad tracking stuff in it.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars Episode 1, where it starts to swim a little bit when, like a robot stops in front of somebody or something like that. But, yeah, District 9, I don't know how they did that stuff. Like how they keep that spaceship in the sky when they're going past trees on a truck with a camera mounted that's bobbing everywhere.
Shaking about all over
It's
the
a
place.
fantastic look. Did everyone in this room loved District 9, right?
You didn't?
I did not love District 9. I was disappointed. I was expecting more.
You probably had it built up too much.
I had it built up too much. I mean, visually, I thought the visual effects were awesome, but I thought the story was a little.
Yeah, I love the way it looked. All those shots, not just like visual effects, but some of the camera work. When the camera was pointing backwards up the gun, you were telling me about this, Bernie. When you saw it, I was kind of excited to see that in the movie, where it's just up the gun at their faces while they're walking around. I love that kind of stuff.
But yeah, but that totally stands out in the movie. I mean, it's like, why is that? That shot is so different from everything else around it. You know?
What specify the shot you're talking about?
Oh, they mounted a gun on the end of the camera pointed back at the guy, so he's like walking
Which
in
you
crouch
can't
mode.
do in a commercial, by the way, which I've learned. Go ahead.
No, it's not that. It's literally like looking back up the barrel of the gun.
Oh, down
Yeah.
at the target?
No,
No.
at the person
No,
holding
at the
it.
person
Because
holding
when
the
you were describing it to me, I figured the gun would be the camera would be sitting on the gun, and you just see like his hand, but you could see the barrel of the gun, and you couldn't see how the camera was attached to the gun, which I thought was great.
Yeah, but how is that? How did like that right there? That moment when you're sitting in a movie and you're thinking about how is the camera? The moment I think camera, I hate it.
Right.
And I'm out of it. You
Oh,
know what I
really?
mean?
Unless you're
all
actively-
you're all
unless you're-
excited because you're trying to figure out how the camera's attached to the gun.
I just thought it was an interesting shot. Looks like the camera's floating in front of the gun.
Yeah,
I
but
like
see,
that.
to me that ruins the movie.
Why does that ruin the movie?
Because
at
you're
no
thinking-
point do you see the camera.
No, you're thinking
Because the
about
fourth
the camera.
wall's gone. Because
Yeah,
the
you're,
fourth wall's
you're
gone.
thinking, how did they shoot this? And that's part of the.
I think that about
You're approaching
like
it from a different view, though. You know.
Yeah, yours is like an educational exercise.
I mean, I enjoyed the shot, and then afterwards I was like, huh, look good because you couldn't see how the camera was attached.
I can totally suspend disbelief in a movie. Like, I can watch Tom Cruise or read about him in a tabloid or something like that all day, hear crazy stuff about him, watch a stupid interview with him, go to a movie, 2 minutes in, he's the character.
Okay.
A total suspension
there-
of disbelief for me. I can do that.
Is there ever a time, like, if the fourth wall does get broken, what breaks it? For
That
you?
would be an example. That gunshot, I was like, why did they do that? It's like all of a sudden there's a shot on the end of the gun that doesn't look natural with the rest of the scene. And that ruins it for me. Like, all of a sudden I'm thinking about the director and thinking about choices that people
too
make.
much.
Yeah.
Heavy-handed.
Yeah.
I think about that constantly when I'm watching movies.
Fight, 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 fight.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, I just like to suspend disbelief and watch the story.
But
you
you're
know?
you're a filmmaker. You have background making a. Do you not watch movies and think, wow, that was
I
awesome?
watch them in two different modes.
You posted.
So you watch them twice.
I don't do that in the theater. What you're talking about, I don't do that in the
You
theater.
I
posted.
can't
that,
help it.
You posted that journal about Avatar, and I had not seen a single thing about Avatar. And you posted the journal with the trailer.
Yeah.
And you had a point to that, and it was like the first half of the Avatar trailer, I was like, this is great, and it hit a certain point in the trailer, and man, it started going downhill fast for me.
Everybody, what did you guys think about the Avatar trailer?
I did not like it.
Did you have the same experience? Did you like the?
It was the point where, yeah, at first I was like, this is awesome, until, like, I guess the dude in the wheelchair gets put in the blue alien body,
Yeah.
and he says, this is awesome. And I was like,
Gone.
that's it.
That's it.
That's
Right.
it.
Totally.
I actually didn't
Totally.
like because in the beginning you see the blue guy in the tank, and you can see that it's obviously a model or something. It's not CG, and then it just like there's a snap and it's CG, and I hate it when you can see the sudden jump between live and CG.
I bet.
Like, and it happened in the Matrix.
Like animation, live action.
Right, but in the Matrix, in the Burly Brawl, you can see like there's all these guys being Smith, and you can see they're all there and they're all like choreographing, and then it's like wham, and it's like this, and it's all CG from now on out. It's like it's just so obvious, and I hate that.
I bet the dude in the tank in the Avatar trailer was also CG, though. I bet it was all CG.
Seriously, it looked like it was there.
I bet-
It looked totally different to when he was standing up and walking
I
around.
bet it was CG.
Really? Oh, you might be right.
To me, the whole thing looked like Final Fantasy II.
The whole
Look-
thing looked like a Final Fantasy.
It looked like
Yeah.
a Cavity Creeps Crest commercial at one point to me with those guys. I mean, they looked terrible.
Man. I think
They looked terrible.
Joel and I are like in the
I say that reference might be too old even for me.
we're in the early '80s Saturday morning cartoon
The
references.
cavity creeps.
If you don't know what a cavity creep is, you
wanna-
got you gotta do research.
That's before my time.
Do you want to talk about Schoolhouse Rock? How a bill becomes a law and all that? But the Avatar thing to me was, it was so much hype because people saw it at Comic-Con, right? And
Oh, yeah.
all the hype, this is why I identify with your District 9 problem, is that I got so much hype about Avatar, and when I finally saw it, it was supposed to be this new kind of filmmaking, and all I saw when I watched that trailer was, I think that James Cameron has taken that bait that so many directors have taken, that CG looks just like real life. That it's all photorealistic. And they've been taking that bait for like 15 years. The Wachowskis took it with Matrix.
Yeah.
They did the first Matrix right, and then all of a sudden they said, CG's photorealistic, we can get away with anything. If we just put it on screen, it looks perfect. And it just doesn't. It just doesn't.
The problem I started having was even before I saw the Avatar trailer. You know, I talked to several people who've seen like 25 minutes of Avatar, and independently of each other, they've all said the same thing. It's just like Fern Gully.
I've heard that
yeah.
too. Fern Gully. What
Every
is Fern
person who
Gully?
sees it, it's like an animated movie from the early 90s about like indigenous animals in the rainforest trying
Yeah.
to protect the rainforest from like encroaching civilization.
And man has technology and tanks.
yeah,
and,
and the fact that every person has said that is like, no, I'm out.
yeah, I'm totally with you.
Yeah. The first person was Count 3D who said, it's like Ferngully meets Pocahontas in space. And I was like, what the fuck have you been drinking?
That's horrible.
Sorry, Count 3D. Hit to out you like that.
I don't want any of those things to meet each other anywhere, much less in space. But the thing about it to me, too, is like you watch that. I mean, I bet after all of you have watched that trailer, I bet we could all sit down and write the screenplay.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know how that story's going to end. It's like, here's a guy in a wheelchair.
It's right.
He gets part of a military program that's progressive.
And then he falls in love and learns the truth of what, you know.
Right.
God,
he sees that, look, maybe humans are the bad guys here. I gotta reevaluate this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like District 9.
Yeah.
I
I
just want to know why the visual effects in Jurassic Park hold up better than the visual effects in Avatar in the movie I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, right? I mean, some things just do. Some things are done well, like Jurassic Park, because they use some models.
God.
Yeah, it's animatronic stuff.
I'm actually getting angry.
I bet we'll be watching Zathura long after we're watching Iron Man.
I just don't want to see another movie for the rest of my life where the human beings are the evil. But I'm tired. I've seen that story again and again and again and again and again. Just stop it. Just stop it. I have an idea. How about a movie where there's aliens and the aliens are fucking evil and they're bad and the human beings are good people?
Like an alien.
Like Independence Day.
Or Predator, right?
Or Mars Attacks.
Mars
I don't
Attacks.
know. I just don't like the heavy-handed messages of, we're going to take a sci-fi movie and make it about environmentalism.
Well, it does make you wonder, has every possible story been told?
Yes.
Of course it hasn't.
Yes.
Ridiculous comment.
Well, every Hollywood formulaic story has been told, and that's...
District 9 could be... I mean, everyone talks about District 9 essentially being a remake of Alienation, which I could see people's points in saying that. But it's another year where most of the stuff we're watching is either adaptations from a book that was very popular, a sequel to a movie that's already done well,
TV show.
yeah, or a remake of another movie that's already been made before,
Yeah.
or a TV show or something like that. It's just... We're kind of in a cycle. I look at the internet... I see a lot of the same stuff on the internet. There's very little original new stuff on the internet, but there's a lot of re-reporting of stuff and a lot of rewording and regurgitation of one guy makes something and there will be another tier below that guy, like say a New York Times story. 20 bloggers will take the same story and just re-report it, and people read the blog because they don't want to read the original creator's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. The creative driving force in Hollywood and entertainment is the business side of Hollywood. And that's what it is, right?
It's business side of everything, right?
Right. Well,
I saw Hurt Locker. I don't think that movie's going to make a lot of money. And that movie was freaking awesome.
I've heard great things about it.
It's great. It's a cool story. It's a war movie unlike anything else you've ever seen before. The battles in that movie are probably just like battles you would see in actually in Iraq. And it's cool. It's not big explosions and people jumping around. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, it could potentially be a spoiler, but there's a sniper battle where they're literally sitting there looking down the barrel of a gun for 8 hours and trying to stay hydrated. You ever see Enemy at the Gates? Was that the...
Yeah. I was about to ask if it was like that.
Another great war movie.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different than everything else. You watch tanks roll by in that movie, and it's a movie about Jude Law and Ed Harris as snipers. Jude Law's a Soviet sniper, and Ed Harris is a Nazi sniper, and it's just them trying to get angles on each other. That's all you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes Bourne Identity cool too, right? Is like the fighting is different. You're in a kitchen hitting people with a spoon and shit.
Bourne Identity's got some
like-
camera control issues though. Those Bourne movies, they're a little jittery.
Hey man, the fact they turned Matt Damon into an action hero is pretty fucking
Yeah.
impressive. I mean, those are engrossing as shit.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like
Grossing as shit, by the way.
gross.
Back on the subject of...
Well, no, shut up.
Okay.
No, talking about filmmaking and movies and all this stuff. This is a little bit of an offshoot, but yesterday I found this camera, I guess that Fuji makes, that is a point and shoot camera that allows you to take 3D images or 3D photos and record 3D movies. And I did a little more reading about it,
That's a lie.
and apparently the way it works, it has two lenses. Since it's a point and shoot, it's like a rectangle. There's one lens in the upper left corner and one lens in the upper right corner. So whenever you take you can enable 3D mode. So
But
whenever you take a picture or record a movie, it's got these two offset angles where it's looking at everything, so it captures.
But how
in
does it
3D.
know where to direct both? Like, does it focus the lenses into each other on the same point? Because the horizons would cross at some, and it would be like.
There's got to be a point in space. I don't know how you would specify it in the UI, but it's got to be a fixed point. Since it's a point shoot, you can't
Right.
adjust it. You can't move the lens. So I don't know if there's like some menu control for it.
But I've done some work with 3D, like using two cameras at the same time, and you can't really do it with two side-by-side cameras only to a certain point because everything behind where they cross will just go crazy. So you really need like a camera and a mirror, so they're both looking down the exact same line and then slightly offset. But I don't. It's like an imperfect way to do 3D with two side by side lenses.
I don't know. I'm really, really curious about this camera. I want to.
It sounds like at least
Check it out.
started going down the path of.
It's bullshit. It doesn't exist. Until I see it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And then when I see it, I'll let it blow my mind, and then it'll be part of reality.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, the reviews I've read for it are terrible.
I believe it.
It's got bad image
How the
quality.
fuck do you watch it? We don't have 3D screens. I don't have 3D picture frame at home. Do you? We can invent 3D paper. Does everyone have a holographic inkjet printer that I'm not aware of?
3D is the future, but it's one of the hardest things to describe to someone who hasn't seen 3D. Like, they have to see it.
Like
you can't be
like
like
those
check out
pictures.
this. Like, they'll show a picture of this camera with like a picture it's taken. It's just a picture. It's like, where's the 3D? You can't see it. You have to show someone and push it in front of their face and say, look at this in 3D.
I think it's a fad anyway, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's a huge fad.
3D.
There's some people I
Always
think like
been a weird marketing fad. Yeah.
who is it? It's like Jeff thinks that 3D is the future of cinema and that this is the birth. No, this is terrible. I hate it.
You really?
Yes.
Did you see Coraline?
No, I didn't see Coraline. I saw Up
Fucking
in 3D.
great.
Up is the only movie I've seen in 3D. I don't like wearing glasses over my glasses.
It's okay.
Why can't they make fucking clip-ons?
First of all, let's be honest. What we're talking about
That
right now,
technology, yeah.
what we call 3D, is not really 3D. I mean, it's a representation of 3D. We're still watching a 2D image, right?
Right.
And so
Yeah,
3D
but-
cinema will be big when it's really 3D, when it's holographic.
And you don't have to put fucking glasses on.
Right, exactly.
I haven't seen a 3D movie in like a very long time.
I was a big holdout. I hadn't seen a 3D movie
No,
probably
but-
since the 80s. You
right.
know, and I went and I saw Up in 3D. And
Was it
looks
better?
It looks phenomenal.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
really beautiful to look at. I just don't want to watch a movie like that. You know, the whole time I was concerned about this weight on my face, and
Yeah.
I was having to push up, and like, are my glasses a little off?
Well, that's why they
Things
called
don't-
it Up.
Yeah, things don't look quite right. Let me adjust my glasses. Okay, there, it looks good again.
Well,
The working title is Up. You're gonna have to move your
Yeah.
glasses around.
Gus actually has eyeglasses, so glasses over your eyeglasses is kind of a pain in
yeah,
the
they
ass.
made them a little big to
Yeah.
try to fit over the glasses, but it's still fucking glasses on glasses.
Yeah.
And anytime you have to have that accessory, you know, I don't want, like playing a game, you know, I don't want to put anything else on. I want to use my keyboard and my mouse. That's how I interact
just saying,
with the
one-
computer.
one-
when I go to watch a movie, I want to look at the screen. That's how I interact with it.
One time, I had to wear contacts over contacts. So
Oh, gross.
Did you really?
What?
yeah,
Well, you had like for when you worked on Buffy
yeah.
or Angel, excuse
Angel,
me?
yeah. It was a creature. That had
You
to wear
had your
two
prescription
lenses
contacts and then colored.
over. Yeah,
Could you see?
Now, was this one of these
it was
things?
very uncomfortable.
Let me tell you something that I know about movie production in Hollywood, and that is actors fucking lie to get jobs. Okay, and I bet Joel was asked, "Do you wear contacts? Because you're going to have to wear prosthetic contacts for this part." And Joel said, "No, it's fine. I'm fine. I don't wear contacts." And so now then they get the makeup chair and like, "You have fucking contacts, asshole." He's like, "What are you going to do? Let's put the contacts over the contacts." Like I've heard people say like, "Yeah, I can sword fight, absolutely," and they get the part and they can't do anything. They can't dance. They can't sing. You know, they have no typing skills or whatever the hell they need to do. It's like, yeah, I can mountain climb.
No, it's like everybody puts that stuff on their resume, right? Like sports, you know. And I put like sports on my resume, and that led me into a situation that almost killed me.
Did it really?
But,
what
yeah.
happened? You had a box or?
You had to catch. You haven't heard this story?
This is an old
Oh,
story.
right.
But it's like, yeah, I'll tell it some other time. But it's basically, I had to catch Randy Johnson. But it's like, I think I already told that story.
Yeah, that would kill you.
Yeah, I would be glad that I'm a catcher and already crouching because it'd make it that much easier for me to crap my pants when Randy Johnson starts winding up.
I was real uncomfortable opening up my genitalia. Really, was the main.
And let's be honest, catchers are not real athletes, right? I mean, we can all agree on that.
Anything that requires you to have to like screw your knees over to like, you know, I mean, to me that's like, I'd rather, I don't know.
I want to make a point about Gus's accessory thing here before we get off of our 1 minute that we spend on sports on the podcast. How about that fucking unassisted triple play
Yeah.
that killed the Mets? That was awesome. What, 18th in history? That's awesome. So
Yeah,
here's a lesson. If you're in the major leagues and you got a guy in first and a guy in second and there's no outs, just hit out to the outfield. Don't hit into unassisted triple play. You will go down the record
Don't
books
hit up the
forever.
middle.
Don't hit up the middle, period.
Okay,
Okay,
got to turn on that stuff.
you were talking about accessory stuff.
Right.
Okay. I reached the same conclusion. I don't want to deal with accessories either. Okay. I don't like that. Natal kind of that's coming out for the 360 has me hopeful and a little worried because it seems like it removes all accessories, yet it itself is an accessory, right? And
It's one
This
that you
is
don't
good-
have to find, though. It's always just sitting there. You don't have to look for it behind the couch.
so far, this is going to be the legacy of the Wii. The Wii now you can't just play a game. Every game has like an add-on, or like they've added this 1-to-1 controller nub that goes on the back, and the nunchuck. I went to go play Wii Sports Resort the other day, and like I had to unplug stuff to go from one mini game to the next.
Yeah, that is a beatdown.
Yeah,
it's a total beatdown.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to unplug the nunchuck to play one game and then plug it back into the
Especially for a game on the Wii, where like it's going to take you longer to prep for the game than to play the game.
And that's true. I should time it. When you turn on your Wii, the Wii seems so simple. You have to press like the button 18 times before you actually get to a game. Like they're simple games in Wii Sports, like bowling.
But to get to them...
Yeah, it's like
Forget
it. Warning, A, another warning, A, don't swing your controller, I got it, A, now hit A and B to sync your controller. And now they have this thing with the 1-to-1 controller where you set it down on a flat surface, and that's how it syncs. Then you have to unstrap yourself and set down your thing, then pick it back up, then hit A, then pick your profile, then hit A, then confirm that you're right-handed still, like in case you changed dexterities between the last time you played Wii. Then you hit start, and then you're almost ready to go.
Hearing that is that's awful.
I should really time how many times you have
That's
to press
awful.
A from starting up the thing to getting into it.
God,
and
it's such a weird thing because like the Tony Hawk game when they showed that at like E3 where it's like the board.
Oh, right.
Like the gameplay of that seems so appealing to me. But
Seriously?
It's like, oh God, yeah. If it works, if it works. But man, I do not want to spend a half an hour calibrating and blah blah blah.
This is from Joystick.
Okay.
Nintendo patents football controller. Looks like a football. So your Wii Mote fits inside of the football, so you can.
See, this is it. They've gone over the deep end. This is crazy.
So
it's like once they've tapped that, we can make extra money with every game. No.
I mean, to play Punch-Out now, you literally have 3 controllers. You have the Wii Fit board, the Wii Fit Wiimote, and then you have the nunchuck.
And don't make a controller the shape of a football because that thing's going through the front of my TV screen.
Yeah. It's got a handle on it. See, it's got this handle on it.
How am I not going to throw that into my TV?
Look, you can see here,
Or
too.
punch it into the TV.
You can see by the patent, it's one controller, but it's got 4 different parts of the diagram. So there's 4 different controllers in this one controller.
Wow.
For one game?
Yeah, for one game. Presumably so you can throw all 4 through your TV.
Talking about punting that controller into my TV made me think about this. Have you all heard about the problem at the Cowboys' new stadium?
No?
No one's heard about this?
No, but I want to hear this.
Yeah, I'm dying.
They've got that giant TV that stretches from like the 20
Oh, yeah, they're hit.
People are punting into the TV. The TVs interfere. Like they played a
With
game
the
against the
gameplay.
Titans the other day, and like the Titans punter hit the TV, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
That's right. Yeah, they have to raise it.
So
right?
now Jerry Jones has to pay millions of dollars to raise the TV up because
So the TV is in the middle of the field like at a NBA game?
it's like hanging down from the center.
I thought it was like on the sides.
No, it stretches from like the 20-yard line to the 20-yard line.
Oh, is that how they did that?
Yeah.
Holy
Is it
shit,
double-sided then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's
Holy
crazy.
crap, dude.
Yeah. You should see the video.
It's funny because I thought like they have like a bar at the stadium where it's like a big bar, and in one of the walls at the bar is like a big glass wall, and on the other side of the glass wall is like where the players have to go to do their interviews after the game. So it's like the players are like cattle. So you can sit there at the bar and watch the poor. They had this in the Dallas Stars arena where there's a bar downstairs where you can watch the players like go between point A and point B.
The best version of that is a couple years ago I saw the White Sox play up at Comiskey. I think it's called U.S. Cellular now.
Uh-huh.
There's a bar out there where the away team's bullpen is.
Nice.
So you can go
I like
out there
that.
and sit by the bullpen while they're warming up and just start fucking
I
yelling
love
at them and
I love
heckling
it.
them.
Get all the drunk fans. Perfect. When are we gonna get to the point where they have like a glass wall at like the urinals in the showers for this? I mean, just watch. Hey, they're being paid. Those athletes are being paid.
That's true. They got to deal with our shit.
That's right.
I think I'm probably the only one here who's excited about it, but the World of Warcraft next expansion is supposed to come out next year. I wish Jeff was here to talk about it with me.
That's going to give you
No.
a whole year to talk about it.
I'll talk about it with you for a second. I don't like that they're doing it because here's what I understand.
Does it come with
you
accessories?
Can correct me where I'm wrong.
Okay.
They're taking the original continents, which I consider to be basically World of Warcraft, the 2 main continents, and they are destroying them and changing them outright.
Yes.
And making them entirely new spaces.
Yes.
Will you ever be able to access the original ones?
No.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
See, there's a lot of people like that. Ever
Yeah.
since the first expansion of World of Warcraft, there's been a big group of people who have asked Blizzard repeatedly for just a vanilla WoW server.
Yeah.
It's just original WoW untouched. This new expansion is going to be almost like a reboot of the first 60 levels. It's intended so if you've played through the game a million times, it's a totally new, leveling experience, new zones, new everything.
That seems like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I mean, yeah, can they just add on?
They could keep adding on.
I've always felt like, well, I shouldn't say always. I've felt recently as the expansions come out, like that Azeroth itself had fallen behind.
Sure.
Technology-wise. And it didn't mesh with the rest of everything else they were doing. So I'm glad to see them retrofitting it and bringing up their entire game to the same playing field.
But they're aesthetically changing. Like, won't some areas be underwater and stuff like that?
Yeah, some stuff's going to be pretty fucked up. Which is cool. I've played the game countless hours. I'm sick of seeing it over and over. I'm glad to see a change.
And I guess you could say that there will always be people who have the community will keep a historical record of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of frustrating that the one thing virtual spaces have over the real world is they don't change. And I was watching Slacker the other day, and that's from 1991. It was filmed in Austin, and it was kind of depressing to see how much Austin had changed in less than 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like the nice thing about WoW is you can go back. You can just kind of like step into the familiar, but I guess, that's part of the benefit of being a long-time subscriber is that you'll be able to say, oh, I was here back when...
It's funny you say that because I think it was WoW.com or Joystick, no, it was WoW.com, the other day had an image gallery up of like places to go before the expansion. It's like every player needs to go see these things because they were not going to be the same anymore. And
good idea.
Yeah, it was like it had screenshots of everything and talked about where they were. And...
that's the kind of thing, too. It's like, it seems like there's no coolness associated really with, like, the internet's very obsessed with being first, but like there's other stuff, like if you were a Yankees fan forever, or you were X game,
it's just not there. It's just not there.
Like the video game culture hasn't gotten up to the point yet.
I think
where
it's going to be.
Yeah,
it's going to be a long time before. If it does, it's going to be a long time before it does. It's funny. You're right. I mean, there's no coolness.
And other people have tried this now. Like even the new Xbox 360 update, they had that tenure thing where it says how long you've been a member of Xbox Live. And I know there's a marketing part to that where it's like, oh, well, let's keep you going. You've been here for 7 years. Why not be here for 13? But I'm about to hit 7 because I was a beta tester for Xbox Live. And I don't know that people care about that number. You know what I mean? I really wonder, why did they put it up there? Like, what are they hoping to foster with
I think
that?
it's pretty interesting to see how long people have been around.
You do?
Yeah.
Or had that particular account?
Yeah, it's like now whenever I look at someone's...
There are
you want to know if you're playing some like fly-by-night hacker account who's only been on Xbox Live for 30 minutes.
Now, hey, that would be cool if you could say, I don't want to be joined up with anybody who's got an account less than a year.
You know what? I mean, like...
That would be cool.
See, now that would be a
That's
cool
a great
function.
idea.
Thanks, dude. I should sell it. Yeah, I mean, you'd have a hard time finding games, but yeah, if they build in tenure, I mean, that's one of the coolest things that I could see using. I mean, avatars and stuff like that are kind of neat, but I only care about them for people on my friends list more than anything else.
I think it just hasn't been around long enough. I think it just needs to be around longer. I mean, like the NFL, when the NFL started, it wasn't...
Yeah, but it's like the NFL hasn't changed, too. Like, that's the thing about video games.
No, but in the beginning, how many viewers were there for Super Bowl II, versus now?
Right. And if you could say, I was at the first Super Bowl, right? It would be, wow, you went to the first Super Bowl. That's really interesting.
It's just...
It
just hasn't been around long enough, I think.
Like, are you at all... I mean, do you guys at all care that I was a beta tester for the original live
service? No, not at all. But it's I know there are... Yeah, there are...
You know why I do.
I know you do.
Why is that?
I have a memory card they gave me. It's a special edition orange memory card.
It's for the original Xbox.
Xbox.
You can't even use it
like
anymore.
the ones that went in the top of the controller.
Yeah.
And it's orange and clear. Bernie got in the beta like 2 weeks before I did. He got the fucking memory card. I didn't. You got a memory card, a headset,
a T-shirt,
like all this stuff, and I just got into the beta. Like, I didn't get anything.
I was wondering why you both had a 6. Like you're the only 6s on my friends list, both of you.
Yeah, it was Gus. It's one of the things I could lord over Gus is my orange memory card.
God, that fucking memory card.
I don't know that it actually any of this stuff ever will be cool. I don't know.
Well,
because it's like access. It's like
it's technology. New's always better. The new stuff's always better. It's we talked about retro gaming last
I don't
week.
know. They're like, I'm going to take this back to WoW. There are like some things in WoW that you can't get anymore, and just aren't available to you, and you only have if you've played a long time or if you played back in the day. Like, for example, for people who've played WoW, like old PvP ranks. Like, on some of my characters, I can pop up a rank that's like Senior Sergeant or whatever. Can't get those anymore.
I'm a grunt.
That's awesome.
Yeah, only people who played like 3 years ago have the ability to have these old titles.
So can you like retain items that you can only get if you played 4 years ago?
Yeah.
That's
I've
cool.
got a bunch of stuff that I had from way back then, and You just can't find it anywhere.
And like achievements are a good thing to do that. Like I wonder if people will appreciate in 5 years that I finished the orange box on 360 and how freaking difficult that was. I know you do.
I am so jealous of your 100% in Orange Box. I've got, I think, 92 out of 90. How many achievements were there?
I got 90. There was 99 achievements.
I think I'm missing 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's probably 4.
Such a good game.
It's so ridiculous conversation we're having right now.
No, I know, but it's like these things are built into the system. They should provide a more customization for you.
We're actually having a conversation about why it's not cool. It's like, well, my level 7 no. No, it's not cool. It's not cool.
Gus,
How dare you? How dare you? I disagree.
does it say anywhere how many hours of WoW you've played in your life?
You can
God,
log into individual characters and type a command to see how long you've played that character.
You don't do that.
I
Guys.
could probably add up all of my characters if you. I should do that.
You shouldn't do that.
Because
You
that would be
shouldn't
a horrendous thing. Like I've
It's
played 4,500 games of Halo 2 and 3,000 games of Halo 3, and at some point Bernie added up how long I'd been playing in total, and it was depressing.
How long was it?
I don't know,
I think it was-
over a month of total gaming or something.
month?
I want to say it was 128 days. I subtracted 8 hours for sleeping and said if you did nothing but play Halo 2 and 3, it was something like 100.
Oh, really? It was that long? So I would have
Oh.
to.
I've got that destroyed.
Yeah, I was going to say because WoW, but that is a depressing stat to me. Like that's a percentage of my life.
After this, careful there, Bernie. After this podcast, I'll add it up and we'll post it.
But yeah, that'll be.
You know what we
I'd
should
be
do?
interested.
We should have bets, and we should try to get like an over/under, like see who can get the closest to Gus's amount of time.
In-
Maybe,
he
maybe
spent.
we should do that in the Drunk Tank group
In
and offer a
Azeroth.
prize to whoever can
down
come
with
the
that.
closest to
So
do
how would you do it? By total hours played or by days you would have had to have played?
Well, it tells you. It breaks it down. It says like I think it gives you hours, days, months, weeks.
Don't
I
do
think
it.
it breaks it down
Gus,
like
don't
that.
do it.
Do it,
So,
Gus.
so I guess we'll do the whoever can get closest to the number of hours.
But what if you find out that you've spent
I bet it's not.
4% of your life playing that game?
I bet it's not as
How
high.
would-
I bet it's not as high.
Like
as y'all
it's
think.
funny how we started
Yeah.
a conversation about it being cool, and like to me, it's dissolving into making an argument that maybe it's
Well,
uncool.
the cool stuff is, I mean, we spend a lot of time on this stuff too. It's like I always said, the thing that's wrong with video games, which the whole culture needs to get over, is, and you're falling prey to it right now, Joel, is that anyone who's worse than me at a game is a shitty loser and they suck at the game and I'm awesome. Anyone who's better than me at the game is a fucking loser with too much time on their hands to play.
or a cheater.
It's like the only people you respect are the people at your level that you just beat. That's it. And, and it's like, we know people who are much better at gaming than we are. And like Jeff, everyone Jeff knows is better at gaming than he is. And so,
Except for Gavino.
Hey.
yeah, he thinks Gavino's worse.
No, I've seen
Yeah,
it.
I don't know that it's. I'm not sure that it's possible. I could be completely wrong. If I am completely wrong, it's just going to take time. But
It will take time.
But the fact that anybody can pick up a controller and sort of compete with you at any point in time, and yeah, I just don't know anything, any platform that a 7-year-old could realistically outpoint you.
Yeah. I think
It's just not going to be cool.
I think it go,
Tetherball.
An argument like an 11-year-old or a 13-year-old.
Here's a great example.
It's just not going to work,
Dude, I got 13-year-olds I know that could outpitch me, and I recognize that pitching is an awesome skill. I think it goes back to what you said.
I'm making a stand. There is no 13-year-old on the planet
They
that can outdo me in any sport. Now I know that's
Oh,
I know
Step
that's
right
wrong.
up.
Fucking
I know
dumb.
that's potentially wrong.
You're so
but
dumb.
potentially.
I know that's potentially wrong. But that you could somewhat, at least in my mind, I can say, that's true. And most people could say that in their own head.
Well, I guess you're taking the assumption that like gymnastics is not a sport.
I'll fuck them all up.
Yeah, or sewing Nikes. the thing is, it goes back to what you said about Hollywood and business driving it. Is that I'm sure when people were playing baseball all day, I'm sure a lot of parents were like, "Who cares that you can hit a baseball? I don't care.
Right.
Go plow the field." And then, but now that it's a viable skill where people watch it and it has millions of dollars backing it up for billions, it becomes a viable thing.
Even
like,
now,
you get impressed.
even now, if you're in high school, you hear stories all the time about major leaguers who they're in high school, and these teachers like, this is not realistic, blah blah blah.
But there's other stuff that people can do that you recognize is athletic talent. Like, I'm just pulling something out of my hat here. I hope I'm not going to offend anybody. Like, archery. If someone hits 4 bullseyes, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Great, good for you, Spend all your life on the archery range, Because there's no professional archers, I mean, but if that guy can sit there and sink 6 3-pointers in a row, I'm like, God damn, did you see that kid? He sank 6 3-pointers. But it's
You know,
not applicable to everything.
It's funny. It's like basically we're coming to a definition where it's like it has to have a big bankroll of money behind it.
What I'm saying is like that's what,
Otherwise, it's not cool.
and it begs the question: is it legitimate because there's a lot of money behind it, or does it make a lot of money because it's legitimate?
You know, in our society, if it doesn't have the marketing dollar behind it, think about it.
Here we go. Joel's theories on
It's true,
marketing
right?
money. Here we go. Come here, kitty.
It's true though.
All right, do we have anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up?
Well, no, like you're not into achievements, right, Gus?
No, not really.
Continue the discussion, but yet
Which
you
is
kind
weird,
of got
an
excited
anomaly.
about the fact that avatars could have trophies that came out of the game and you could put on your avatar.
Yeah, I like things that are more tangible. Like even I know that's not tangible; it's not an actual clothing item, but I like either an in-game representation of it or like some other kind of reward rather than a website I have to go to check my
Yeah,
score.
yeah, I do agree that it's nice to have the avatar with something on it because it's the first thing you see. I wish there was a feature where you could pick like 10 achievements that you've got and put them on the front and everyone can see your proudest
if you wear
achievements.
like medals.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, that's,
because there's some achievements that I'm so proud of, and you've probably got a lot, like 7 Day Survivor. That took you a long time.
if
you
you
put
could,
that up
if
there.
you could do that, I would go after achievements.
Seriously?
Yeah, if I could pin medals to my avatar's clothing to show achievements I've got, I would care. And I wouldn't go. Maybe I wouldn't go out of my way, but I'd play a game and be like, oh, if I play just a little more and got that achievement, then I could put that on my avatar.
Makes
I'll
total
do
sense.
that.
Makes total sense. Something that's super accessible for everyone to like immediately recognize.
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to have to say, oh, did you see my achievement? No. Go check Xbox.com, look up my username,
You know what?
and then look for this game,
I have it right
and
now.
then look for the
Are you
achievement,
ready?
and I'll show you.
I have it right now. I have the total package. You ready?
Hit me.
You take it's just like Halo, where now we're all based on the number of achievement points you have. You're a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
Like in other words, if you have 10,000 points, you're level 1. If you're 20,000 points, you're level 2.
Well, they even have
If
the thing
you're
now.
30, level 3.
With-
And it's the clear, accessible. Everyone immediately understands it. I'm so passionate.
But then,
His headphones flew off like that 50 cal ricochet. Do you remember
but
that?
they have that with the gamer score. I mean, they have that, and then people just approach it in a different way. And of
No, but
course,
it's like that would become your avatar as a number.
yeah. I mean,
And that's it.
It's funny though. It's like it's one of those weird things too. It's like anytime because games aren't perfect, right? Anytime you make something like that, people figure out a way to game it, and then it invalidates it for everybody.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
The thing is about whenever you see someone and you view their profile on your Xbox, you'll see a gamer score, you'll see the star rating. None of that means anything. Like
Nope.
anyone can have any gamer score. It doesn't mean they're good. It means they've played games where there's easy to get gamer score. If you just saw the top 10 achievements that they got, you'd be like, you'd look at their thing, and the first thing you'd see would be, holy shit, this guy's awesome. And you could actually tell whether someone was good or not. Because at the moment you can't at all.
But like the stuff that I would like to put up, like they'd have to give you a long list of things to choose to put up. Like I have 46 completed games, 46 100% games.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's.
I
which
have
is a lot
4.
more. Do you really have 4?
I have 4.
Yeah, and
But
so,
you play a lot of arcade games.
But listen, here we go with this fucking discussion. An arcade game, the 100% arcade game, takes just as much effort as
No,
it does
that's
for
not
a
true.
lot of retail games. Yes, it is true.
I disagree.
I mean,
with
you
that.
get less.
guys
I
are-
no,
I
no, no,
completely
no.
disagree
I
with
agree
that.
with you that you get
No,
less
it's
throwaway achievements,
crazy.
like do something really easy, but it's still only 12 achievements.
You know what we should do?
Only
Let's have an
12.
achievement race where you pick a retail game for me and I pick an arcade game for you.
What? And we
No,
do that.
that's not going to settle anything.
Let's do
That's
that.
no,
Let's see
no,
who
no.
finishes
When
it
you
first.
start going down the super specific, there's
no, I don't think there'd be. There's no fair
There's
balance.
no argument here. He's absolutely right.
Do you know why you should count them or they should equally count?
But
Or
you,
why it
can't.
matters?
There's less points. There's less achievements. I don't know how you could count them.
Because everyone has access to the same ones. Are you telling me it took you? What are your completed games do you have? Name a few.
Hitman, Blood Money,
Uh-huh.
Oblivion was one, but that got DLC, so I don't have that anymore.
You have some of the hardest ones, that's why.
You can't. No, it's true. You can't compare like
Jeff-
Fallout or Oblivion. Are you calling me Jeff?
No, Jeff has Avatar. You could get that in 4 minutes.
Yeah, because it's the combo
Well,
one.
no,
Yeah,
It's
but you're picking a
generally-
bad one. We could pick bad arcade games you'd get in 4 minutes also.
the problem-
Yeah, I could say do Trials
you
HD.
You can't disagree.
Right.
Generally speaking, it's
Yeah,
easier.
I think you're the lone wolf on this one, Bernie.
No, you think your Marble Blast Ultra, completing that, was harder, or excuse me, was easier than, say, doing...
Dude, some of these games, it's like, forget hard. It's just like you just have to go through just the amount of time you have to commit to some of this stuff. It's ridiculous. Like Assassin's Creed, having to collect all those freaking flags over the freaking place.
I got all this.
Even you go to Google, and you get a map, and you go, okay, this is where all the flags are. It still takes for freaking ever to walk around a freaking map forever, pick up a freaking flag.
Well, let me give you an example. Since you're picking Assassin's Creed, let me give you another example of an arcade one. There's one called Heavy Weapon that I have done. And that's a game where you just it's like a Robotron shooting kind of style game, which all arcades were for a while. You have to go through the first 11 levels without dying.
Any argument you make is not going to carry any water because
You're
it's
crazy.
a specific argument.
I played so many arcade
You keep
games.
drawing these like super specific
I agree with you.
things.
No, that's a random middle of the road one.
I agree with you that there are arcade games where it's just as hard.
And
But
as time moves forward, that's becoming more and more the case. But no.
Some of my most impossible retail games are ones that I've done. If there's an impossible achievement in an arcade game, I don't give it any hope. I really don't. I'm more ready to abandon an arcade game.
Look at what's the game we've been playing? Like Battlefield, right?
Yeah.
The 200 points? Come on, dude. You do that in like 2 days. You do that in like
No.
a day. Battlefield?
No, you
play
gotta play a lot of
100
100 matches. It'll take that one will take a few days of
That's
grinding.
1,500 minutes.
Okay, 3 days?
Yeah, I mean it's still pretty easy.
How long did Halo 3 take you?
I'm not. I haven't gotten all the ones in Halo 3. I'm not a big achievement
you
guy.
seriously don't? What, even before DLC, you didn't get 1,000 points?
I think I'm at 950 or
That's
something like
terrible.
that. I'm not,
It's Halo 3, man.
I'm not a
It's
good.
Halo
I'm not,
3.
I'm not as good. I'm not a good
But
game.
I've got
You should 100% Castle Crashers and then talk to me.
We had pretty much everyone I know, when Halo 3 came out, it was the race to 1,000 points. You did it. I know you were like trying to get the last overkill.
He was cheating.
But
Never.
I remember.
But
I
as
remember
soon-
seeing you at a party.
Never.
as
At a
soon
party
as the
before
DLC came
game
out,
was released. Before the game was released.
How would I do that?
We were at the party. We were at the Halo 3. We're at the Halo 3 launch party with Bill Gates and drinks
If
and
it's
an
a
open
launch
bar.
party-
And where's Bernie? He's trying to unlock achievements.
I will say this:
Halo
if it's a launch party, it's not cheating.
Yeah.
because the game is launched.
In fact,
No, because it was before the game was launched.
so
No,
you
no.
had a
It
head
was
start.
before the game was
2
launched.
hours.
It was before the
You
game
bitch.
was launched.
That's 2 hours.
2
That's
hours.
nothing.
I had played through the whole campaign a week prior to that, fully, and I so I had to play through the campaign again. So
And you tried to cheat with that.
I did try to do it.
How did you try to cheat?
I brought
There's
my
no-
memory card.
Yeah.
You've
Luckily,
already-
Xbox Live profiles don't work on PartnerNet.
Well, no. When I asked Bungie, I said, "Is there any chance I could start unlocking achievements?" And they said, "Yeah, I don't think so." And plus, I didn't want backlash at the time from like,
Oh, you would have gotten some shit.
"Oh, dude, yeah, it would have been bad." It's like, "Oh, look at Rooster Teeth get special treatment because you fucking achievement." So I didn't do that.
But who was the first in the office
Listen.
to get 1,000 points? It was you, right?
It was Bernie.
Dude, I don't know.
It was Bernie.
You know, I like stuff that people do with their achievements that are really cool. Like Nico. Nico has an Xbox Live account. He has 1,000 points in Halo 3, and he has 1,000 total gamer score
Has he still never got
for
anything
his
else?
profile. That's it. He's never unlocked a single achievement in any other game.
That's pretty. I like stuff like that. I remember Jericho. We were playing Graw, and it was the hour-long survive one. We had to defend that spot for an hour. That was the only achievement she had in that game. For so long, that's like the hardest one.
She had the
And
hardest
just
achievement in
that
the game.
achievement and nothing else.
Yeah.
I want to do that in every game. Just get one achievement that's the hardest.
But it goes back to I'm going to really defend. I think unlocking arcade games and counting them 100%. I'm totally fine with that. I'd also be fine with the breakdown.
How do you feel
separately
about
between it.
getting 100% in the game, and then the game releases DLC and it takes that game away
I
from you?
hate that.
And you're no longer 100%.
I think they should separate between achievements. I think Sony does something that Microsoft doesn't. That's better, and it's very rare that I'll say that. They give you a trophy for completing the game.
Yeah, everyone's on the same page about that.
You mean for
Yeah.
100% all the other ones?
100% the retail game.
Okay.
Then you get what's
would-
called a
it
platinum
would-
trophy. Like
it'd be-
I would have a platinum in orange
And
box.
how easy would that be to do,
That's awesome.
right? And then they just make a separate for the downloadable content. Just make a separate, category.
Or just more achievements. You don't need
Yeah.
another trophy for that because it's like Fallout put out 5 extra DLCs. They might put out more. They might not.
They've said no, but we'll see.
Yeah, they said no, but
Yeah, like when I did 100% on Oblivion, I was like, whew, I sold it after that. I didn't wanted to play again, but now I've got a partially completed game. It's like 70% done or something.
sucks. They take
and
it
that's
away
so
from you.
lame.
I'll tell you the one that did that to me on was BioShock. I 100%ed BioShock, and then they put out this extra achievement without DLC. They put out this
That was
extra
good.
achievement.
It's just frustrating to me that they kind of don't know. I don't know. I shouldn't even go down this path, but it's like they don't know their own culture. It's so obvious.
Well,
like
you don't
everybody-
think it's cool, so we're not.
Well, no, but I mean, come on, right? If I see it, Jesus,
Yeah, I mean, BioShock was bad because it was the
cannot
same
take-
game, and they said now go through it again without ever dying once on the hardest level. It's like I'm not going to do that. I'm
Yeah.
just not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so now I have a
What,
game
and that was an achievement?
that was 1,100. Like they put out the first 1,000, and then all of a sudden they came up with this another 100 points without any DLC.
It's like they're
that turned into
undermining.
11.
It's like
Oh, that's weird. I didn't know you could do that.
It's like undermining your own currency.
As far as I know, you can't.
It's like they just forgot something. It's like, oh, we're going to do these. Let's do them, and then just put them out for no reason.
It's,
well, there's a reason. I mean, it's let's make some more money.
it's probably.
But it was no DLC.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
there's no DLC.
It was just
There
extra
nothing
achievements they
attached
just
to
threw
it.
in later. That's
Exactly
really weird.
right.
So hurtful.
Bizarre.
It's one of those things too. It's one of the places that I'm obsessive about achievements. I don't care about the score. I don't care any of that.
Score means nothing.
I
It's-
just want 100% the game.
Right.
That's it, or get the hardest achievement in the game, or something like that. And when I do that, then it gets taken away retroactively. I can't stand that. I don't know why that is. And I get mad when I start a game.
And yet Barry Bonds is going to have the home run record.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I get mad when I start a game and then I get to an achievement that is very clearly unattainable, or I'm not going to attain it, and it's a broken achievement essentially.
What? So and it puts you off playing the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's like, well, now I don't want to finish it because I know I'm not going to get level 10 in Grand Theft Auto, and I know I'm not going to get 10,000 kills in Gears of War.
I would easily any day rather have like 47 out of 50 achievements than like 20 something. I'd still go all the way, even if I knew there was some I couldn't get.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I won't even get the dumb achievements where, like, there's one in Superman Returns where you have to fly 10,000 miles. I completed the whole game and I had 2,500. And the way most people get that achievement is by putting rubber bands around their controller
Right.
and letting them fly in a circle all night.
Right.
And I'm not going to do that either.
Why not?
I'd rather not have those lame achievements.
Do you have that achievement for cheating?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? That's
No.
pretty good.
I don't have that one either. I like negative
That's
achievements.
what I'm talking about. I hate stuff that's just like, consume a bunch of time for no reason.
Exactly.
You
I really hate time-based achievements. Like, there was one in Viva Pinata I didn't have for a long time that was play Viva Pinata for 50 hours.
Did you have everything else except that?
I did. So it showed that I got all the other achievements in less than 50 hours. That in itself is like... So now I'm just going to let the game run to get the last achievement. What I did is better than that, but...
It's more impressive to not have that but have everything else.
There are some other achievements that are inherently really bad. Like they didn't make it to the final version. But remember that Turok game that was going to come out, where they had achievements for team killing,
Yes.
and
Stupid.
there was a huge backlash, and that ended up
Really?
getting removed before the final version.
I do like time-based ones that make you... Like, in GTA, there was one for complete it in under 30 hours. Is that right?
Yep.
But for me, that totally ruined the game. I rushed through that game. I was like, I've got to do it. I don't want to have to play this again in under 30 hours. I did it in 19. So I could have easily, fucked around and done a few side missions, but it ruined the game for
Yeah.
me.
You can
Because I was
definitely
playing it in a rush. I mean, it's a good achievement. It's a nice one to have, but I think it destroyed the game for me. But there are some where you'd think it would destroy the game, like Half-Life 2 Episode 1, where you have to do it with firing one bullet, and the bullet you fire is to shoot a lock off a door.
Right.
That's totally fine. It's still fun when you do that, and it doesn't ruin the game, which is odd.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's like in Half-Life 2, they had a lot of great achievements in there. The one where you had to carry the gnome all the way
Oh,
through
that was
the
a
game.
bitch. That's the opposite. That fucking ruined episode 2. That was a slut. I lost that fucker so many times. Like, at one point, I dropped off a ledge, and he was there, and I was like, I can't reach him. I can't do anything to get him. He was just, off the ledge above my head, and I had to replay. I lost, 2 hours.
Oh, man.
Because I didn't save enough.
I saved so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we should definitely wrap up.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
Anything else before we wrap up today?
I'm good.
All right. Well, if we end up doing this WoW contest, I'll post details about it with the podcast. So thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, bye.